Hey everyone, you probably recognize that right there. That was the cover, or at least one of the covers, to Bruce Dickinson's solo album Accident of Birth, 1997. It's now like 25 years ago. So I remember listening to this album and absolutely being like, whoa, this is what Bruce Dickinson's doing. And then, listening to the albums that Maiden had been doing without him, which I like as well. Those are solid albums, and as time goes on, I actually like them more and more, to be honest. But the albums Bruce Dickinson released during this period, in Chemical Wedding and Accident of Birth in particular, those albums are quite phenomenal, to be honest with you. And I don't know, go back and check them out if you haven't heard them in a while to see what I'm talking about. But they're the song on this album that I really kind of want to talk about. And it's actually the ballad, one of the ballads from this album, that I believe is one of just a freaking great song. It's a great song. It's Man of Sorrows, not to be confused with Iron Maiden's The Man of Sorrows, which is kind of funny. There had to be an elephant in the room at some point, right? But anyways, so Bruce Dickinson's Man of Sorrows is a freaking awesome song, and it's a heavy ballad, and his voice is just phenomenal on it, and not to mention, Bruce Dickinson wrote this song from what I've seen on the internet all by himself. He's the only writing credit, so it kind of makes it even more impressive. In his absolute prime, I consider Bruce Dickinson's vocal prime to be between around this time right here, all the way up until about Dance of Death. That period, to me, it was a combination, and I want to talk about Bruce's voice just really quickly. A combination of maturing to the point to where he was implementing new techniques to his voice, and he also had a lot of his younger self where he was still kind of shouting his way, and it's a combination. And if you hear him now, he's kind of given way to more just technique now to get him through, and he still sounds wonderful at 64, but there's a lot of technique going on right now, and I'll kind of show you what I mean. I'm not going to try to hit the notes in his old form, because I myself, being 41, am trying to find new techniques for me as well. So you take a song like The Trooper, right? And I'm not going to sing it in the note that it is right now because I'm not warmed up. But so Bruce used to sing a song like The Trooper, like, "You'll take my life, but I'll take yours too. You fire your musket, but I'll run you through." Right? That was kind of a shouty thing. "So when you're waiting for the next attack, you better stand, there's no turning back." And that's why back in the old days, you wouldn't really hear him go, "You better stand," which is what you hear him do now. But what happened is during this period, after Fear of the Dark, he made these albums, and you started hearing something different. You started hearing that kind of thing. He started using probably head voice more. Because before that, a lot of it was chest voice. It's powerful, it's emotional, but as you get older, that starts getting kind of hard to do. It takes a lot out of you when you're doing 2-hour shows, stuff like that. So think of Dark Side of Aquarius. "Here comes the rider of the wind." And I'm using falsetto right now, but because "Here comes the rider of the wind." That's more like it right there. So think of a line like, "You're at the end of some crazy dream." That's kind of how Bruce Dickinson sings everything now. "You'll take my life, but I'll take yours too." And I'm not really warmed up, but that's got kind of like that. I always do that. "Oh!" And so now he can go into some crazy dream, and he can kind of go into those high notes a lot easier, and it keeps him alive vocally. And it was a great choice. But I believe during Accident of Birth, all the way up until about Death, Dance of Death. I always want to say Death on the Road because that was the tour. That's, I believe, a good combination of both. He's still singing really aggressive, but it's also got that technique to let him hit the notes. People always say how Live After Death is like the greatest live album from them, and a lot of it has to do with the time, the timing, the place, what was going on in music, the importance of it. I don't argue that at all, but in actual how good they sound, for me, it's like no competition. Like if you hear the band during the Brave New World period, all the way up until like Death on the Road, even all the way up until Flight 666, like that's the band firing on all cylinders. Like it just really is. He's hitting all the notes. The band is still playing really aggressive, and yeah. So that's what I have to say about that. Anyways, back to Man of Sorrows. there's nothing really to say about it other than it's just a really, really good song, and I wanted to just mention that because sometimes these songs can be forgotten somewhat, and we just kind of forget about them and we go forward and kind of want new stuff. Which reminds me, I'd love a new solo album from Bruce Dickinson. I've heard little things in the past, like maybe he had worked on certain things here and there, and but we've never really gotten like a solid, so, you know, a new solo album is coming. At the same time, you kind of wonder, like, you know, Iron Maiden just released Senjutsu, but do they have another one in them? I believe they do. I believe they do have another album in them, and so that's going to take precedence, of course. But, you know, you got like Adrian Smith releasing side project stuff as well with Richie Kotzen, and I believe it's called Adrian and Richie, or Richie and Adrian. It's Smith Kotzen. I knew I felt stupid saying Adrian and Richie. Smith Kotzen. All right, back to the video. But so it can be done, absolutely. What else? Just those two albums, Chemical Wedding and Accident of Birth. There's just so many songs on there, like, and even his live album, where he, I believe in Brazil, like, they're just so enjoyable. They're heavy. They're melodic. The lyrics are great. Like, it's just a really cool world he created during that period. And yeah, I'd like to hear a new album. You can't forget Tyranny of Souls. It's got a song called another one that's kind of more of a ballad, Navigate the Seas of the Sun. What a beautiful song. Like, it's kind of like, to me, my second favorite Bruce like ballad song. There's some more as well, of course, but yeah, there's just something really, really special about that song. I love the way it just goes on. It kind of has this peaceful, but then his vocals are always huge as well. Like, so if that's, go back and listen to that one as well if you haven't heard it in a while. It's just it's quite shockingly good. All three of those albums. Anyways, just wanted to mention that. But Man of Sorrows, it's like the hit song that never was. That's what I'm saying. In the metal community, maybe it did have its day, but to me, it's like a big hit song that never was a big hit song. And I'll end with this. They actually released an HD version of that music video on YouTube, and I just discovered that before I started talking about this right now. So check that out as well. It was kind of cool to see that. Video blog within a video blog. How could I forget? Adrian Smith also plays on this song as well, and he's on the album, and the album is produced by Roy Z. All right, back to the vlog. Just kind of wanted to talk about the song Man of Sorrows on Accident of Birth. 25 years ago, still as strong as ever. Check it out. Put it on a playlist on Spotify or something, or wherever you listen to music. All right, until next time, rock on.